So you own things, don't you?
Yes, I have. I am in possession of objects.
Well, I mean, in terms of collections.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what do you have? I
So-
mean, I know, but do tell Joe listener.
Well, Joe, I collect a few things. I'd say obviously the most obvious one for me is video games, right? Because I've owned all the consoles. No, not true. I've owned the original Xbox, PS3, PS4, and PS5, and I collect what I believe to be the best games. Obviously, it's a matter of taste, right. But I really hate lending games to people because then they forget that they borrowed it from me, and then when I say, "Hey, can you give me back this, and this?" then it's like, "Oh, I don't have that," and then I get really annoyed. So I don't lend out games ever.
Have you ever got a game back with just a box? Empty box?
No, I don't think so. I remember swapping a game with someone in high school once, and I finished the game that they gave me, and I wanted my game back. And what he did was he kept telling me that he was going to bring it. He was going to bring it. He was going to bring it. And then he said one day, "Oh, I put it in your locker." I'm like, "How did you put it in my locker? My locker's locked." And then he's like, "It's your problem. You figure it out." And basically what he'd done was he'd stolen it and he didn't want to give it back. And I'd given him back his game already, so he didn't feel the need to, talk to me ever again. And that was just really annoying. So I just bought it again.
That was going to be my question. Like, worst lending experience.
That was my worst lending. I mean, I don't know if it was it was definitely my first worst.
Your first worst.
But I've had several bad lending experiences where, it's a game's been at a friend's house for a very, very long time, and I was sitting at a table with a bunch of people, and, we bring up, this particular game, and then the one who I lent it to goes, "Oh yeah, I have to give this back to so-and-so." And I'm like, "No, you have to give it back to me. Don't give it to so-and-so. So-and-so's probably got his own version that he needs back from you. What are you doing?" So, I have a thing with that. I have board games as well, which I really like. Yeah. And I just really love board games that have beautiful artwork on them.
Yeah.
The
Dracula one.
The Dracula one has fantastic artwork on it. And I guess you could say books as well, but like less of it. I don't have a problem.
Graphic novels.
Yeah, graphic novels. That used to be a big thing. It's not so much anymore. But yeah, I understand why you're asking, because you're trying to justify the fact that you're a nutcase as well.
No, not at all. I wanted to tell a couple of shitty lending stories of mine.
Okay.
I have an extensive collection of Blu-rays, which I began. Well, I mean, it's probably started from like the VHS days when the parents used to buy me Disney movies, and then when I was 13 or so, I started getting really into it. I remember we were in boarding school, and our house mistress and housemaster brought us into their apartment.
You were in boarding school. I was not in boarding school.
I was in boarding school. Yes, I was in boarding school. And they brought us into their apartment.
I was a good egg. I wasn't sent to boarding school.
To choose a movie for movie night. And they opened this cupboard, and it was just like a Shangri-La of fucking movies. It was huge, a big collection. There may have been like 20 or something like that, but I was smaller back then, so to me it looked huge. And I don't know, maybe that was the point when I decided to start building my own collection. I'm not sure.
Really?
But I had a lot of VHSs. I remember once I lent something to somebody. I lent Tomorrow Never Dies. And as you know, I'm a big James Bond fan, and that those James Bond videos would have been sacred to me. And yeah. I lent it to somebody, and it came back with a coffee ring on it.
On the box?
On the box, yeah. Jeez. Somebody had rested their coffee mug on it.
Why? Why would people do this?
I don't know. I just remember that, when I had DVDs back in the days when people actually were able to play DVDs. Nowadays, people are like, "Oh, what you got DVDs for? It's streaming, blah, blah, blah." But people used to come into my room and just look at the wall as if they were browsing in a Blockbuster. And it used to piss me off because it was like, I didn't tell you that you could come and borrow a movie.
Did they just walk into your room and just start looking? Or
yeah.
You would say, "Hey, come in, look at this collection."
No. They just walk in and look. And now,
if you're wondering what that squeaking sound is, that is the sound of my dog chewing and saliving all over it. Salivating, I mean.
Fantastic.
Saliving? He's saliving all over his ball.
Saliving, right.
That's the only way that I know to describe it, because he's not salivating, but he's just getting saliva all over it. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So yeah, nowadays, like, people don't play DVDs, but they definitely don't play Blu-ray and 4K, so I'm covered.
Right.
But I remember this really horrific incident. It was horrific for me at the time because I think I was like 12 or 13.
I think I know what it is, but go on.
So I brought Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet into class, into English literature class, and we watched it, I think, in a few parts. And the teacher removed the VHS from the VCR at the end of the movie and put it on the table. And I went to reach for it, and another kid grabbed it, put it on the floor underneath the chair that he was swinging on the back legs of, and proceeded to crash down.
Why?
The front
Why
legs.
would he do that? Every time I think about this story, the injustice, the unfairness of it all. Why?
Yeah. So,
kids suck, man. Fuck.
Yeah. So basically, the moral of the story is, kids, don't lend anything. Don't be generous. Don't lend anything.
Don't share. Sharing's not caring. It's rubbish.
Yeah,
if you like your stuff, only you get to use your stuff, and your younger brother when he wants it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a fairly pessimistic intro.
No. But here's the thing. I wanted to talk about this because you were always very generous with your movies when I wanted to borrow them. You did do the scary eyes thing. Like if I'd say, "Can I borrow a movie?" You'd give me like a sharp sort of.
Yeah.
Burn a hole through my skull kind of look.
Yeah.
But you did always lend me movies, like at the end of the... And you always introduced me to movies. You'd suggest movies. You'd say, like, hey, you should watch this.
You
really
were also in the next room, so I knew where you lived.
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right, then. Fine. I was trying to make a nice thing out of it, but you had to, all right, just, you know what, just roll the intro with the thing. What's our seat number?
Hello, and welcome to What's Our Seat Number, the podcast that asks, what on earth are you doing to the furniture? I'm Johnny Gross, a filmmaker and Olympic swimming champion, and I don't kiss on the mouth. With me, as always, is my co-host, a 3D graphic artist, the spitting image of Idris Elba, the quintessential angry man shouting in a cloud. It's Simon Gross, Simon Gross, Simon Gross. There he is. Today we're talking about Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice stars Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Winona Ryder, and Michael Keaton as the title character. So, what are your memories of this one? Harking back to the dark ages of yore in ye olde England when we were but wains.
When we were but wains?
Yes.
Well, the memory that I have at the beginning is of the first thing that I remember is the scene where they sort of try and figure out how to transmogrify their faces, sort of thing, you know.
That
and they pull.
Always makes me crack up.
I love it, but it really scared me. So that stuck with me. And then,
but the eyeballs on the fingers, it's like what my kid does with olives.
Yeah. Now you can look at it like that, but anyway. Yeah, so I remember that we were watching the film and came across the bit where they sort of pull out the eyeballs and they're on the fingers, and I was like, oh god, this is that thing from, you know, that memory that I have, and so that sort of closed the gap for me. And then obviously this is before all of my obsession with special effects and animatronics and stop motion animation. So I was just interested in the movie, and then, you know, obviously as I became more aware of things like Tim Burton and, you know, whatever, so I started putting that together, and then this became like this film that I really, really, really like, because I could appreciate it on a more technical level as well as just, you know, hey, this is dark and goofy.
Right. So that was the thing. I thought that it was rated 15 in England. And I remember, I think the parents rented it or something like that while we were on holiday. I'm not sure. But I thought it was a horror movie. I didn't have any idea that it was a comedy. I was kind of scared to go near it.
Really? Okay.
But and I think I discovered it quite a bit later. But I don't know. It always. Once I did discover it, it always entertained me, and I always found that bit where he, you know, sort of pulls his nose out and, you know, stretches and everything. I always found that absolutely hilarious. That particular prosthetic is just
it's really
just
good,
hilarious.
Also, a year ago I rewatched it, a year ago it was on Netflix, and I
probably isn't anymore.
Right, and I rewatched it. And there's that scene where he's talking to them in the graveyard when they first meet Beetlejuice, and he's like, and they're like, well, what are your qualifications? And he's like, well, I attended Juilliard, and that he sort of puts on this very sort of, you know, stuck-up accent. It's just, the whole time he's been going, "Hey, how you doing?" And then he's like, "Well, I attended Juilliard." And I just found that to be really, really funny. I didn't remember it from the last millions of times that I watched it. So I always find that there's always something in a subsequent viewing that makes me laugh that didn't make me laugh. Laugh last time.
Right. Yeah. I always found it.
Words.
I always found it quite shocking that was Batman. When I was a kid, I was just like, "Oh my god, that's the same guy who plays Batman. How is that possible?"
Right.
But yeah, Batman was also something that I saw way too young. That kind of scared me a little bit.
Well, quite rightly, it's really dark.
Yeah, it's really dark. But that was my introduction to Tim Burton. That and this.
Yeah.
That and this.
Do you know what? I think that maybe my introduction to Tim Burton might have been like the first movie that I watched that I was aware was Tim Burton was Sleepy Hollow.
Ooh, Sleepy Hollow. We should do that one at some point.
Yeah. I love that film now, but that scared me.
That needs a 4K desperately.
Johnny has recently bought a 4K player, and he's
even
really happy.
Even if I hadn't, I would say that it needs a 4K remaster desperately because the Blu-ray looks like mush.
Right, so we won't be doing that episode until there's a remaster of Sleepy Hollow. Johnny can't go back.
Anyway, we will get back to Beetlejuice in a little while, but now it's time for some movie news. Reportedly, Warner Brothers has paused the theatrical release of The Batman in Russia, which reminds me of a famous quote from Churchill. "We shall fight them on the beaches, we shall fight them on the landing grounds, we shall fight them in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight them in the hills, and we shall prevent them from seeing the Batman in IMAX. That'll teach him."
Direct quote, is that?
Yeah. Clearly they're trying to make a statement, but what they fail to realize is that the US film industry has absolutely no bearing on this war whatsoever. I mean, who exactly are they punishing? What is it, Putin? Will he not be able to see it in his private screening room in the Kremlin?
Well, I mean, I was like, the idea is like, what can we do? We'll shut down the banks. Shut down the banks. We'll shut down other avenues of it. Yes, of course. What else could we shut down?
Cut off their resources.
Stop them from watching Batman. What is going on? Is that real, or did you make that up?
No, that's
real.
That's real. That's real.
What?
Yeah, obviously the usual celebrities coming out and saying, "I stand with Ukraine." What exactly are you doing? What exactly are you doing to help the situation?
Well, I mean, what else can they do? People like to feel like they have some sort of say, and now I think, whereas before there was social media with, and before there was internet and whatnot, with wars, how are you exactly showing your support? You're either going out and protesting, or you didn't know about it because there was no way that the information could get to you or something.
Right.
So now information's readily available at your hands, and we're getting it, beamed right in front of our chops all the time, 24/7, whenever you're on Facebook or whatever. So, people feel like they need to be able to do something, and really there's not much else for them to do other than change their profile picture and or say that they stand with Ukraine, which is not a bad thing.
They could donate.
To do. Yeah, they could donate. I donated at the beginning of the week.
Very good.
But again, I was sitting talking to Josh, and I was like, I don't really think that that's going to help. I put
it'll help somebody somewhere. That's
well, no, I'm saying that the thing that actually helps is that they don't go to war.
Right, but it's also about like sort of patching up an already shitty situation for the people on the other side of it.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's for aid, right? It's but
that's what I'm saying. I just don't think that I think the last thing that anybody's thinking about in the middle of a war is whether or not they're gonna screen the Batman in
or
Russia.
Whether or not Jennifer Lopez stands with Ukraine.
Right, indeed.
I don't know why I just picked on Jennifer Lopez. There's really no reason for it.
Okay, so moving on. Si, have you ever seen a trailer and thought, my God, they're flogging this to death. Why can't they just leave well enough alone? Did anybody ask for this?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about, Jonathan.
Oh, well, in completely unrelated news, a new trailer for Fantastic Beasts Secrets of Dumbledore dropped the other day.
Who gives a shit?
Are there even any beasts in it anymore?
There are beasts in it.
I mean, they just sort of look shoehorned in. We need help. Let's bring in the beasts. I mean, they're in the title.
It's not even one of those situations where I'm like, I'm going to watch it anyway because I like Harry Potter. I don't like it enough.
Right.
Didn't even like the original movies enough to watch them, to watch them again.
Right. Speaking of trailers, the 150th Morbius trailer dropped this week. I'm starting to think that there is no film and they just made a bunch of trailers.
Do you know, I actually, yesterday, right, it came up in my feed and I watched the trailer and I got, I think, 4 seconds in, and then I stopped and I was like, I don't think... I said this out loud. This is how weird I am and outraged. I was just like, I don't think there was a single person saying, do you know what comic book character needs an adaptation? Is Morbius. Honestly, he was in one comic that I had, and he was an antagonist to Spider-Man. He was literally in it at the end, and I went, that's a shit villain.
Well, we'll probably be sorry because it'll probably be the best film ever made.
Nah.
Topping all polls, IMDb's
I don't think
top
so.
100
I think it's
above
going
The
to
Godfather.
have a similar reaction to Venom. That's my projection.
It's very possible. The Showtime series Super Pumped, The Battle for Uber, follows Travis Kalanick, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who started one of Silicon Valley's most successful companies in Uber, but who was also ultimately kicked out of his own boardroom. Also greenlit this week, Flush, about the bloke who invented the toilet flushing system, and the comedy drama Bra, about the bloke who invented the bra. The latter will air on HBO and will use boobies as its selling point. Oh god, I've given them ideas. That was... Movie news. Well, lots to think about there. What?
I'm just...
The only one that was real was the
Processing.
story of Uber.
Right, no, I'm just
okay.
processing...
Just hoping you got that.
I'm just processing the... There's a lot of stuff there that just sort of took me by surprise. I just didn't... You never know what you're going to get with movie news, or you're going to get a serious conversation about war, or you're going to get flushing toilets. So I think I just heard a toilet flush. Do you want to watch a film? Or no, there's trivia.
Who's hosting this episode? Now, what are we doing next? No, it is time for the tagline game.
Got a lot of shit last time because I was excited about the fact. I was like, oh, this is a good one this week because I was getting it right. And it was pointed out to me that I'm a sore loser. And I'd like to say to those people, yes, and please continue.
Okay, so this week we have 4 taglines.
Okay.
Your first tagline is, from a dimension beyond the living, a terror to scare you to death.
Mm-hmm.
Your second tagline is, the spirits will move you in odd and hysterical ways.
Mm-hmm.
The third tagline is, you ain't screamed nothing yet.
Okay.
And the third is...
The
fourth. Sorry. The fourth is, the name in laughter from the hereafter.
It's either the first one or the last one.
Okay, I'll give them to you again quickly.
No, I got it.
Oh, you got it?
It's either the first one or the last one. Just give me the first one and the last one again.
From a dimension beyond the living, a terror to scare you to death.
Okay.
And the last one was, the name in laughter from the hereafter.
Okay, I have a sneaking suspicion that it's the fourth one, but I want to do the first one. I think that's my answer.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you really sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Is that your final answer?
Go, do it.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
The correct spelling of fla is...
Was it the last one, though?
T.
Was it the last one?
It was indeed the last one.
Yeah.
The name
I had a
in laughter...
suspicion, because it's the name. Name, like as in Beetlejuice, it's the name. And I figured it was that one, and I was like...
Betelgeuse.
All right, fine.
Okay, so do you want to hear what the other ones were? From a dimension beyond... From a dimension beyond the living, a terror to scare you to death was Poltergeist. The spirits will move you in odd and hysterical ways was Scrooged.
Yeah.
And you ain't screamed nothing yet is Casper.
Oh, cool.
And the alternative one for that one was The Afterlife of the Party, but I thought You Ain't Screamed Nothing Yet was funny.
Yeah.
Prizes.
You
can win up to 250 million What's Our Seat Number branded gold doubloons so you can buy the beach house or secluded forest cabin of your dreams. But remember, don't read from the dead skin-bound book. At all real estate agents who accept What's Our Seat Number branded gold doubloons, runners-up can win up to $650 million in negotiable bearer bonds, but let's face it, they're not really worth anything and they'll probably just end up cascading down the side of a skyscraper. All limits and outright lies apply. Offer expires in the next 26 seconds. So... do you want to claim your prize?
I didn't win anything. I didn't get it right.
That's right.
That was your gamble there, was that I was going to not twat it up. But I did. So now we just have to sort of live with the fact that, when I make decisions, they're poor. You choose poorly.
Should we go watch the movie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, how was that for you? That was fun.
It was fun.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a few things that I noticed about this time that kind of bugged me. But that's to be expected.
You mentioned the jank.
There's a bit of jank. In the effects, but we can save that for VFX attic.
Okay,
if you want.
All right.
Just got some things, but I mean, I think it's a good time. A good time was had by all. Was it? You're the other all. Did you all in the fun time?
And a good time was had by all.
Do you have fun, Jonathan?
Yes, I did. Indeed, I did. Good. I had a great time. I think it's a very short and sweet movie.
Yeah,
and it's crammed full of fantastic ideas.
Yeah.
I enjoy it every time. I'm always taken aback. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen it, but I'm always taken aback at how little Michael Keaton is in the movie.
Yeah.
And also how little his iconic striped jumpsuit is in the movie.
I noticed that this time as well.
It's in it for like literally 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And that ended up on all the various promotional materials, the posters, etc., and in the animated series.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah. But yeah, it is an iconic costume. But it's as if it would be like if the Batsuit appeared in a Batman movie for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really enjoy it. It's a lot more adult than I remember.
How so?
Just in terms of like his as in like Michael Keaton's character Beetlejuice, as his like
humping the air, and being
all the various like lechery and stuff like that, and the fact that Lydia is like a 16-year-old girl and he's like perving over her for the entire finale, and the kind of the gruesomeness that's played for laughs is still pretty gruesome and macabre. Like, for example, when Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin's characters, the Maitlands, are in Jeffrey Jones's study, and they sort of stage a scene as if she's just cut his head off, and she's holding the knife with that kind of deranged look on her face, and he's like holding he's holding his head, or she's holding
his head, and she's holding a knife in the other hand. And his headless body is lying on the floor. And
also when she's hanging in the closet, and she pulls her face off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all very gruesome, but it's played for laughs. I just I love that kind of thing. It's sort of black comedy stylings, which at the time I'm not sure was that mainstream. I mean, Tim Burton kind of created his own style, in tandem, of course, with Danny Elfman, who created the sound of every Tim Burton movie. That nowadays you kind of take that for granted, but it always strikes me as interesting when I watch something and I sort of put on those like critical glasses and I think to myself like, this had to start from somewhere. Nowadays it's commonplace, it's almost cliche, but and I remember watching some like behind the scenes of Batman as well, that Danny Elfman had to come up with the sound of Batman. And again, that's something that we take for granted, that you have that like and the theme from the animated series, which is entirely derived from that. And it's just interesting, like how do you come up with something iconic? You don't know that you're coming up with something iconic. You're just trying to. I mean, that's how I feel when I'm doing a job. Is that I'm always trying to get to the point where I can send the bill. I'm trying to get to the end of it, like trying to get through it in one piece.
Yeah, you're just trying to complete the project. You're not really thinking about this is going to make a mark on.
Right, trying to complete the project and trying to do a good job, obviously. But like somebody like John Williams goes into the next Spielberg movie. Or sits down to compose the theme for Star Wars or Superman or whatever, and it's just something that comes out as as iconic, that everybody can hum, that everybody knows. It's like in the zeitgeist. That like, you know, every kid since 1978, you know, puts on a blanket and you know, as a cape and pretends to be Superman and always sings that theme. So in the same way, I find that this is the sort of the first real example of that combination of Tim Burton and Danny Elfman that just became its own thing. So and that's one of the reasons why I really appreciate this movie, because they were working from nothing in a way, and they created that sound and that look together.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's yeah.
I was speaking
5
of
minutes of me rambling.
No, speaking of the music, is that I was listening to that soundtrack and you know, just like on a loop while I was drawing a poster that I made for your birthday.
Right. So
Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
it took me a couple of weeks to do it, and I was just like, anywhere I was working on it, whether I was in Tel Aviv and I was working on it, or I was, you know, here in different workspaces, or wherever I was, if I was working on it, like 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, you know, whatever, I was listening to this soundtrack and other Danny Elfman soundtracks just on a loop. So when the music came up when we started the movie, I was like, just like, that's just on and on.
Yeah. So the story with the poster is that I feel really, really bad about this, because you created this really wonderful poster in the style of the animated series, and it's Beetlejuice sitting on his gravestone, and you know, it says at the top, "It's showtime."
Yeah.
And it's really great, but I worried that the kids are going to get scared of it if I put it up.
Yeah.
I would love to put it up, but I couldn't. Anyway, I mean, I would say I'd like to try, but then, you know, my kids don't sleep right now, and
what we should do
having
is
nightmares.
We should make a Facebook poll. We should put the poster on the Facebook page, or we should make a poll: should Johnny put this up in the office, and just yes or no, and then you have to do what the public say.
Do I?
No.
When has that ever happened?
No, you don't have to.
By the way,
yeah,
this episode happened that way.
Yeah, it did, but that's only because you didn't lock the poll.
I forgot to lock the poll, and then suddenly people started adding their own entries.
And then
some of them were awful, like Terminator 3, and what was the other one?
I don't know, something stupid with Eddie Murphy or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, what was it? No, was it Jack and Jill? It was Adam Sandler.
I don't know. It was something really dumb.
But if everybody would have voted for that, we would have had to have done Jack and Jill.
Yeah. Well, again,
it's dangerous.
You don't have to.
It's dangerous. It's like my kid running into the road.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what you're. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So that's the reason why we did this, because somebody added Beetlejuice. It wasn't even on the list.
What were the original films that we were going to watch?
Oh, I don't remember. We wanted to do Inner Space.
Yeah, that was the one that we wanted to do. I think we should just do what we want to do and only leave it up to the crowd when we don't have an idea.
So we wanted to do Inner Space, and there was another one that we really wanted to do as well. But anyway, we'll repost the poll, and I will remember to lock it this time.
I'm like, now after this happened, I'm like, you shouldn't lock it, because people are just crazy.
No, I mean, we're lucky. We're lucky that it came out as Beetlejuice. And not as Jack
I
and
think
Jill.
that we're lucky that people engaged with it, and that they you know, started voting for things.
Oh yeah.
which is nice.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
You wouldn't have appreciated it so much if it actually had been Jack and Jill. You'd have been like, oh God, screw you, audience.
Or Norbit.
Ugh.
Or Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so before we start getting into the nitty of the gritty, I think it's time for another game.
Okay.
It is Crazy Casting with
K's.
Your first crazy casting. This actress was no stranger to spooks, specters, and ghosts, and was almost cast as Barbara.
Sigourney Weaver?
Correct.
Hey.
You will get a ding afterwards.
Thank you. I trust you.
Okay.
You wouldn't shortchange me.
I wouldn't. This actress also had a demonic experience in the past, but pea soup, vomit, and crucifix masturbation were not enough to win her the role of Barbara.
I know, I've forgotten the name, but I know who it is. It's in my head. Can I get the point anyway if I don't say the name? But it's the Exorcist's Oh, come on.
If I give you her first name, would you be able to give me her second name?
Oh, maybe. Go on.
Linda.
Oh, I know it was Linda. Oh, Johnny. Okay, go on, give it to me. Linda what?
I will. Okay.
No, don't bother. It's not there. It's gone, but I know
matter,
who
but
it
you'll
is.
get this.
I can...
Her second name is akin to a found footage movie that involves the woods and a witch.
Oh, Linda Blair.
There you go.
Oh, damn.
I'm
it was
sorry,
there.
I can't give you that.
But my doubloons.
Your doubloons.
Damn. Oh, that's so annoying because in my brain, I'm like going, what is wrong with you? You know this. It's right in this cabinet. Where's the key? Open the cabinet drawer. It's right here. He just said Linda. You know it's Linda. Why are you not saying the second name? And then the other side of my brain's going, I can't find it. Next one.
Are you all right?
I think I just had a minor stroke, but I'm okay.
A conniption fit.
Conniption fit.
Okay, number 3. Up for Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to do a few quick fire ones. Man who runs marathons in the rain.
I have no frigging clue. This is dead air time. This is great. People love this. Oh, hang on.
Okay, how about this?
No, hang on.
Okay. Oh, you're there.
Dustin Hoffman?
Yes, you mouthed it to me and that was correct. I will give that to you.
Hey! Because Rain Man and Marathon Man.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't have to do anything.
Great.
Okay.
No, my brain was like, it's right in there! What are you doing? He's just fucking giving it to you! Anyway.
Sai really wants his doubloons.
My doubloons! I'm already like, what am I going to spend with my doubloons?
Okay.
Spend with my doubloons? Spend on my doubloons.
A cross-dressing nanny, a djinn, a radio DJ, a disgraced English lit teacher.
Robin Williams.
Correct.
Okay.
An asylum inmate, another deranged clown, a drunk who sees ghosts.
Hang on. This is what, Jack Nicholson?
Correct.
Okay.
You need to adjust your instincts a little bit more because I can see that you're getting it quite quickly. Okay. And I'm just going to read off a bunch of these because I couldn't be bothered to come because there's a lot of people that were up for Beetlejuice and I cannot believe the people on this list.
Can you do it so that it's interesting? Can you do it in one breath?
I can certainly try. John Cleese, Tim Curry, Christopher Lloyd, Jim Carrey, Bill Murray, Robert De Niro.
Oh, there wasn't as many.
No, there weren't that many. There you go. See? Okay, number 5. This actress was pre-metropolitan fornication and luring children to their doom with a hypnotic song. Hypnotic?
I know it. Oh.
She was up for the role of Lydia.
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Correct.
Okay.
Pre-metropolitan fornication.
Yeah. You are very proud of yourself for that, aren't you?
I'll tell you what it is.
For anyone who didn't know that.
For anybody who doesn't know, this episode was planned at least a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And then both of us kept getting sick.
And our kids getting sick.
So I am reading these notes for the first time since I wrote them about a month and a half ago.
These are really good, Johnny. Well done.
Okay. After trekking through a maze and before charming W.D. Griffiths doubly, this actress could have also played Lydia.
Wait. Say it again.
Trekking through a maze. And charming W.D. Griffiths.
Charmed. Doubly charmed. Jennifer Connelly.
Correct. Okay. This child-hating coven leader and pain-loving gothic siren almost played Delia. Child-hating coven leader. Pain-loving gothic siren.
Houston. Wait, her first name? Angelica Houston.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Wait, hang. Can we just for a minute here, right? I did know the first one, right? And I know I don't get the doubloons for it or the point, right? Because how does this work? Just actually, hang on, before we continue.
You don't have to get them all right. You have to get the majority.
And then once I get the majority right, I have 26 seconds to claim it, right? Okay. So okay. I'm just. These are very good because I'm getting them all right. Go on.
Because you're getting them all right. So Angelica Houston was almost cast as Delia.
Interesting.
But she was sick, so she was recast.
That's a
which is a shame.
But it worked out.
It worked out because Catherine O'Hara is
really good.
Amazing.
I will take you with me.
She is absolutely hilarious in everything she does.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she plays a kind of what would normally be the boring mother role in Home Alone, and she really manages to do something with it. From the fainting to the yelling at the clerk.
Oh, and all that, yeah.
Yeah. At the airline desk.
She's quite brilliant.
She's quite brilliant. And if any of you haven't seen Schitt's Creek, have you seen Schitt's Creek?
No, I haven't. Podcast film?
No, Schitt's Creek is a series.
Oh, podcast series?
Go and watch Schitt's Creek. It's really good.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Podcast series. Let's go. It's a new thing. We're doing it.
Okay.
Come on, my doubloons.
This former president of the I will start again. This former president of the United States would help rid the... I can't say the word president. I'm saying this former president...
Watch me.
President.
Okay, say it like me. President. Okay, now read the sentence.
President. This former president of the United States would help rid the world of unwanted visitors and would have his own run-in with spooks, but his Malice co-star won the role instead. He almost played Adam.
I should know this.
President of the United States rids the world of unwanted visitors, had his own run-in with spooks, co-starred with Alec Baldwin in Malice.
I've never seen Malice, so I don't...
Okay, well then 2 out of 3.
So, former president...
Former president of the United States helps rid the world of unwanted visitors, also known as...
I have no idea. It's not there.
Okay.
Wait, it's not Harrison Ford.
No, it's not Harrison Ford. But think about a president of the United States who
I've completely blanked.
Aliens on a national American holiday.
Oh, was it Bill Pullman?
Correct.
Really?
Yes. Who also had his own run-in with spooks. Cat Balloon.
Oh, Casper. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That wasn't even one of those things where my brain's going, you know this. My brain's like, it's a cigarette in the corner, just like, oh, fuck it, I'm on my break. I don't know. You don't got this one, let him tell you.
Okay, and now I know that this is usually a crazy casting game, but this is a director special.
Okay.
This Helmer was considered to direct. His experience in Dream Demons would have made a much darker film, probably causing the audience to shriek with fear rather than roar with laughter.
Dream Demons.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, the one Dreamin'. The one Dreamin'? Dreamin'! That's pretty good, actually. The one Dream Demon.
Wes Craven?
Correct.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wes Craven almost directed Beetlejuice.
Interesting.
Yep, and so there you go. So
how many did I get right there?
You got all of them right but 2.
Okay, so I can have my doubloons?
You can have your doubloons.
I would like to claim them now. It's been less than 26 seconds.
Has it?
Yes. Wait, is it since starting the quiz?
Well, let's let's go back into the okay. I will reread the thing here. All limits and outright. Okay, so you have to read the small print. All limits and outright lies apply.
Oh, right, I see.
Offer expires.
Oh, hard luck.
Seconds.
Hard luck.
Hard luck.
Oh, well, I guess next time then.
That was completely unprecedented and surprising that there are no actual What's Our Seat Number branded doubloons.
Oh, I'm devastated.
Yes.
I don't know how I'll be able to continue recording this now.
That was Crazy Casting with
K's.
There we go. Okay.
Ugh, I'm really upset about that Independence Day one. Damn it. Less upset about the Linda Blair one.
Yeah, well.
Although I'm pretty upset about it.
She's not exactly a household name.
No, but I knew it was Linda, but my brain was going, is it something with a P?
Okay. Right. So, do you want to just have a talk about it generally? Do you want to go through your notes
Sure.
and tell me what kind of things you noticed this time around? What kind of things you enjoyed?
Those are the only things that I have written. Things that I've noticed.
Okay. I'd like to give a little shout out to Bo Welsh, the production designer, who worked on every Tim Burton movie up until a certain point. Are you going for soda?
Mm.
Okay, here we go. Some ASMR here. Get a little closer. Ooh.
Soda. Where are you?
What?
Where are you?
Oh no, but pull the okay.
Soda.
I noticed this is something I noticed this time around. They kind of establish the sort of self-imposed isolation of the Maitlands at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
That what's her name again? The woman that comes around and they said Jane. That she comes around, she's trying to sell the house.
You get that cabinet open without any grease or wheels or anything. Whatever, fine shit.
Yeah. So yeah, they don't want to be disturbed, and he actually Alec Baldwin's character Adam says something about this must be heaven. They're sort of trapped in the house, alone together. And then that's that little bit which I found quite funny of Adam going into his hardware store and the barber chatting to him, and then continuing to chat, as he goes. And it's a nice little thing that I never really paid attention to before. They kind of set up a little bit the town before they crash into the river. And they kind of set up that kind of we just want to be alone, and I really kind of identify with that nowadays.
Well, yes, indeed.
Yeah, because it's like I want to be with my kids, and as soon as we have a moment alone, we're looking at pictures, watching videos of the kids.
Yeah,
it's like even if we're alone, we're not really alone.
Well, you're enjoying them from afar. It's very, very different.
Yeah, we need a little bit of
distance is key, I feel.
Yeah. Okay, we talked about the hanging scene. We talked about Catherine O'Hara.
Well, hang on, don't jump ahead just yet, because I have some notes about the opening.
Okay,
it's actually just one note. I don't know, I lied. But they established the couple's taste in music very early on in the movie, which is a sort of precursor to Dare, right? Which is,
the Harry Belafonte stuff. Yeah,
and I was just like, I never noticed that's what they were listening. That they were actively pushing a play on a tape and listening to them. Like they like that music, which is what inspired that. I always thought that scene. The Deo scene is very, very random, and it still is. But there is a sort of that's their version of haunting someone, which I think is very cute, and it's very
very funny.
They're very cute at the beginning of the movie, and they enjoy the music, and it's,
and they're sort of like they're good-hearted. You can see that they don't want to, they're trying to scare people, but they're incapable of actually
harming them or
actually scaring them.
Yeah.
I love the sheer number of ideas in this movie. I think it's an incredibly imaginative and creative movie. I talked about that earlier, that it's like a sort of 90 minutes or something like that, and they cram in so much. For example, the handbook of the recently deceased, which I love. The whole idea of drawing a door.
Yeah, I love that. I love the look of it. I love the look of the lighting in the movie is very.
It's very theatrical. I had a thought that perhaps that they're remaking a lot of movies as musicals, as Broadway musicals, and this could be ripe for that.
It has been made into a musical.
It has?
Yeah, there was a Beetlejuice musical on Broadway, starring the same guy who someone's gonna shoot me for forgetting his name. Same guy who played Jack Black's Dewey Finn character from the School of Rock musical. And he was in. Just imagine that for a second, because he has to. He's got to talk like this all the way through the play, and he's got to sing like that. Mm-hmm. And he has an incredible voice. Like he's able to, do the Jack Black kind of. He did that really, really well.
So this is so this is really recent.
Yeah, it is.
2018.
Like a couple of years ago, yeah.
Huh. I did not know this.
Mm-hmm.
We were.
But it's really funny that you didn't know that, and you said this is ripe for that sort of thing. It's very theatrical.
but we were in the States in 2018. October 2018. We were home already.
Mm.
We went in June or July or something like that. But yeah, that would have been great.
I've seen a couple of adaptations. I've seen the School of Rock one, and I've also, when I was in the States, Shosh and I went to go and also see the Groundhog Day one. They're really good. The Groundhog Day one was brilliant.
So jealous of you. God damn it! No, because we went to see Chicago, and it was great and everything, but it's a very minimalist production. Deliberately so. I mean, it goes back to the Bob Fosse days in the 70s when they started. and they've sort of preserved that throughout the years, and I just thought that you know it's kind of like when you get a 4K TV for the first time and you want to like see
it's your only frame of reference to anything, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm saying like you want to put it through its paces and you want to see like you want to watch something like The Matrix or or Avatar or something like that to see exactly how.
I've just had the funniest mental image in my head. I'm sorry. You know how you have like on a guy who wants to buy a horse or something, and he's walking along the different like stable housings of different horses with like a flat cap and tweed jacket and a sort of rounded wooden walking stick that he's not actually holding, but it's sort of slung over his arm, and he's sort of lifting up their lips and looking at the teeth. I just have an image of you wearing exactly the same outfit with the sort of cane over your arm, but you're sort of looking at these TVs that are all sort of sticking off a massive long wall with like arms off them, but you're like, yes, this one's got wonderful pixels on it. Sorry, I'm sorry that I just derailed us there. It was just that image came out. So okay, 4K. Go on.
No, so what I'm saying is that you're in New York. What the fuck was that all about? I'm saying you're in New York, you're in Times Square, and you want to go see something on Broadway. And I was just thinking that what you would want to do is see the most bombastic production that you can possibly see, which would probably be something like Disney, right? Yeah. Because we saw Beauty and the Beast in the West End, and it was absolutely spectacular. Amazing. And the way that they achieved through lighting and trapdoors and all kinds of various things, like the kinds of special effects that that you wouldn't think that they would be able to achieve on stage, is really quite something. And I don't know how old I was when we went to see that, but I was completely entranced.
I was obviously much younger than you, and I was, to me it was like, yeah, to me it was magic. But I'm just bringing it back to the whole Beetlejuice thing. I'm wondering how that would have worked on stage. That's always what is curious to me about Broadway productions, is how are they going to do this? Like when I was watching Groundhog Day, I was like, how are they going to make it seem like a time loop? Right, but they did it through several different tricks. Obviously, having actors say very annoying lines, like exactly the same way with the exact same intonation and tone. There's like the mayor of the town is talking about the groundhog, and he goes, "Isn't cute?" Right, and he would like do that every time.
Prognosticator.
But there was a musical number where it was just through like trickery and sleight of hand and body doubles and whatever, but he was always waking up in the bed.
Right.
And they were covering up the fact that the actor was going back to the bed, and it was just really well done. Obviously with trapdoors and whatnot. It was just really clever.
The thing is, like, I watched Groundhog Day last week during my sick week.
Was the movie?
Yes, the movie. And it's like everything is exactly in its place. So if you look at the alarm clock, for example, you can see that the mints or the chocolates or whatever they are positioned in exactly the same way. And obviously, what you can't do on a Broadway show is that they shot all those sequences one after another. So Sweet Vermouth, Rocks with a Twist, Please, all of that shot one after the other, each go. I would have loved to have seen that on Broadway. I mean, there were lots of things that I wanted to see on Broadway. We were trying to get there's like kind of a raffle that you enter into every day, and we just didn't. We never got tickets, and we were only there for a short period of time.
That's, by the way, that's how we blew most of our money. Was that we weren't getting. We wanted to get either tickets to Aladdin or
we wanted to see Aladdin as well. Yeah.
But we went. I don't know. When we went to England, we went to go and see Phantom of the Opera and Les Mis. Right. And then when we were in America, we saw, and this is like, we blew all our money on it, which was Chicago, Groundhog Day, and School of Rock.
You saw Chicago as well?
Yeah.
In
that one. Well, I mean, we knew that we were, probably not coming back for a while. So.
Right, and and that's how it's turning out for us as well. But we didn't know there was going to be a pandemic.
Well, I was talking more along the lines of kids and
Yeah, because my lovely wife was pregnant when we were in the States.
Oh, really?
That was supposed to be our baby moon. Anyway, and now that that Back to the Future came out on Broadway, I would have loved to have seen that. It looks spectacular.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
We did a degree.
There was some major digression. Yeah.
So
So a lot of ideas. The colorful deaths in the waiting room, like the shrunken head.
Yeah.
Is hilarious. I always find that hilarious.
It's the mundane and familiar, which is everybody who has ever gone to get some
Any
kind of
government
bureaucratic,
office, yeah.
bureaucratic,
Bureaucratic.
any kind of bureaucratic process. You know what it's like to take a number and sit down, and then you take this thing where it's like you're sitting next to shrunken heads and whatnot. It's funny. But
I love the
guy who's
the car
like, how do I
accident
look?
victim.
He's like, I'm feeling a little flat.
I'm feeling a little flat. I
Yeah,
love that.
brilliant.
That could just be the dad in me that I'm appreciating all the dad jokes in there.
Yeah. There's a question that I had about the afterlife ghosts is that they're all dead, right? And they're all in the same condition that they were in. Fucking hell.
I almost knocked over my drink.
They're in the same condition that they were in when they died. Why are the Maitlands not wet? They were wet when they came through the door, but they were not wet for the rest of the movie. I'm assuming it's a production thing.
If I remember correctly...
No spoilers. If it's in Trivia Corner, leave it there.
There might be something there, yeah. I'm not sure.
No, that just popped out at me this time. And the fact that, if we're already talking about, that early section of the movie when they first discover that they're dead and, they leave the house and they go outside into the Saturn desert. It's just that the blue screen is really janky and so is the sort of claymation.
I think by design.
You think by design?
Yeah, I think that he did that on purpose.
What, that you can see the rigidy, janky outlines?
I think he was going for a kind of Ray Harryhausen kind of look.
On the not on the animatronics, on the
stop motion.
I'm not
the
talking
blue
about
screen.
the stop motion. I'm talking about the actual the outline around the actors. You're talking about that as well?
I think in the late 80s, we're talking about 1988, 87, 88 when they were making this movie. In the late 80s, there are a lot of movies where the technology shows the sort of the join kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he deliberately went for that sort of old school sort of janky look on purpose. And again, there might be something in here in Trivia Corner, but
we can talk about it in the attic as well.
So we'll talk about that a little bit later. The sequel has been greenlit. They greenlit the sequel yesterday. And
are you saying?
Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton are on board, and no reports whether or not Tim Burton is on board.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Should we go to Trivia Corner?
Sure.
Trivia Corner. Oh, we did that in unison this
Sorry, do you want to try it again so we're ever so slightly off unison?
Okay. Trivia
Corner.
Okay. So this is Michael Keaton's favourite film of his.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. The studio originally wanted to call the film House Ghosts.
I'm glad they didn't. That sucks.
Yep.
That name blows.
As a joke, Tim Burton suggested the name Scared Sheetless and was horrified when the studio actually considered using it.
And that's why you don't say things unless you mean them.
Well, that reminds me of that whole Sid Sheinberg thing that the head of Universal, Sid Sheinberg at the time, sent a memo to Spielberg and Zemeckis saying that they should call Back to the Future Spaceman from Pluto. And Spielberg said to Robert Zemeckis, he's like, don't worry, I got this. I'll handle this. And he sent back a memo to Sid Sheinberg, and he said, Sid, we thought that your memo was absolutely hilarious. Keep them coming.
Great.
And then
I've heard that story.
He never mentioned it again. So there you go. Tim Burton feared the Deo sequence wouldn't go over well, since in his opinion it wasn't very funny. He turned out to be very wrong. Audiences loved it and think of it as one of the film's most iconic scenes. I agree.
Isn't that what we were saying? We were sitting at the couch while it was happening. I was saying, I just really want to know whether they were all in on this. They were wondering whether it was going to go well. Yeah,
because I've read and seen interviews where actors that have worked with Tim Burton have said, yeah, Tim doesn't say very much and he doesn't give very much direction. So I was wondering exactly how something like that sequence comes together if he's not really giving them, the sort of the tone or the direction that I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen, obviously I haven't been on a set of Tim Burton's, but I haven't seen, like, for example.
Oh, you haven't?
No, but for example, on the Indiana Jones Blu-ray, there's the Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a whole 40-minute segment which is literally just 16mm footage of Spielberg directing. And you get a unique insight into how he talks to his actors and how he crafts this scene. There's something similar on the E.T. Blu-ray as well. And I haven't seen any of Tim Burton really, like, you know, directing, so I don't know how he talks to his actors, and you know, so it's just interesting to me to kind of think how exactly, you know, does a sequence like that that's very specific. You know, how they're kind of they're being like sort of pulled this way and that, and they have the sort of the surprise looks on their faces that turn to like kind of, you know, getting into the dance and then back to the surprise.
Well, as I said while we were watching it, I think they probably had a choreographer who was, you know, telling them about when they're being pulled and how to move and how to look like they're being sort of, you know, possessed. Obviously
that, but in terms of the actual like expressions on their faces, the actual acting side of it. But anyway, apparently Michael Keaton ad-libbed 90% of his lines.
Okay. I believe that, actually.
Like the save that guy for later.
That is brilliant, yeah.
Here's one for the nerds. Well, for me. Beetlejuice was the first DVD sent out by... DVD is a round disc kind of thing that looks kind of like a CD. A CD is... I'll explain this to you. A CD is what... The Beetlejuice was the first DVD sent out by Netflix in 1998.
Sorry, are you on cocaine today? What's going on?
I haven't slept in roughly 2 years.
Right, lovely. Go on.
Yes, and also I have a bag of cocaine stuck up my butt.
Cocaine.
So yeah, I will say this again. Hopefully I'll get through it. So Beetlejuice was the first DVD sent out by Netflix in 1998.
Oh, cool.
I've also written here, explain what Netflix was for the fetuses. They used to send out physical copies of DVDs back in the day. It was a online rental service. And nowadays, they put movies on...
no late fees.
And no late fees. Nowadays, they put movies on their streaming services for literally about 10 minutes, which is just enough for you to watch the opening of the movie before you get a message that says this movie is no longer on Netflix. So, fuck them.
He does love a little bit of exaggeration, our Johnny does.
Really? You think? Michael,
Here.
I likes it, he does. Michael Keaton, playing the title character, only appears in 14 and a half minutes of the film. Michael Keaton spent only 2 weeks filming.
And yeah, he's all over it.
He's all over it like a bad rash.
Like divine on dog dookie.
Yeah. When Adam and Barbara are in the office, a voice on the PA system announces Flight 409 is arriving at Gate 3. United Airlines Flight 409 crashed into a mountain in Wyoming on October 6, 1955, killing all passengers and crew aboard. At the time, it was one of the worst plane crashes in history. To this day, no one knows why it crashed.
Ooh, that's dark.
Very dark. But it reminds me of the scene in Ghostbusters 2 when the Titanic arrives.
Yeah.
I love those little tidbits.
Keep it light. Keep it light.
Catherine O'Hara met her future husband, production designer Bo Welsh, while making this film. According to Welsh, Tim Burton said he should ask her out near the end of filming. Welsh said, it didn't even occur to me that I was even supposed to talk to the actors, but since Tim told me to, I did. And then we dated and we're married, and here we are today. That's sweet. The visual effects budget was just $1 million, a major factor in Tim Burton deciding to make the effects look as tacky and B-movie as possible. There you go.
I see.
Drop page.
Well done.
All the people in the waiting room and in the office are in the same condition as when they died, and the way they died is shown clearly. However, the Maitlands who drowned are not wet.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, there we go. Tim Burton felt that keeping the actors wet all the time would be too uncomfortable.
So it was a production decision.
It was a production decision, and that's what happens when you type up your notes before a month and a half before actually recording. Because I would have known to say
that's in Trivia Corner.
In Trivia Corner.
No,
the movie's box
that'll
office.
That'll teach you to fucking get sick, won't it? That'll learn you.
Yeah, but then you got sick.
Well, that'll learn me and you.
Yeah, well, there you go. The movie's box office success created plans for a sequel, Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. A script was commissioned, and Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder both signed on to reprise their respective roles. Tim Burton lost interest in the project and went on to direct Batman and Batman Returns instead. As late as 2015, Warner Brothers was still trying to get the original sequel concept into production. And I wonder, actually, if what was greenlit yesterday is in fact Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian or if it's a new script.
I hope it's a new script.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Along with Spaceballs, 1987, Big, 1988, and Caddyshack 2, 1988, it is notable for containing the F-word in a film rated PG during the PG-13 era. Was this rated PG?
Why are you asking me?
No, because I would have thought...
I'm not the trivia master.
They created the PG-13 rating because of Gremlins and Temple of Doom. That was 1984. So by this time, they could have rated Beetlejuice PG-13. But anyway, the F-word in question is... Nice fucking model! Yeah. The skeleton head on top of Beetlejuice's merry-go-round looks remarkably like Jack Skellington, a skeleton figure which Tim Burton had been drawing since 1982 and would ultimately be used as the main character of The Nightmare Before Christmas, 1993.
Cool, I didn't actually pick up on that.
Which Tim Burton co-wrote and produced. According to producer Larry Wilson, the original ending was significantly darker, ending with Winona Ryder's Lydia dying in a fire and joining her friends in the afterlife. Whoa.
Dear me.
Yeah. They changed it after considering the message it was sent to young people that death would be a happy ending. Although the character's true name is Beetlejuice, spelt with a G-E-U-S-E. Betelgeuse. As Betelgeuse, bioexorcist. Betelgeuse.
Wow, it's like Alec Baldwin's in the room with me.
It was spelled Beetlejuice in the title because it's funnier and markets better. See, I always wondered about that, but seems to be a really... pointless.
What do they mean it markets better? Is that like it how do you test for that? Is it you check to see if people can pronounce it and people couldn't, so they spelt it the way that people could spell it? I mean say it.
It is easier to say Beetlejuice when it's spelt Beetle and Juice.
Yes.
But like I guess it's one of those things that you know that the Shawshank Redemption tanked because everybody was like, what is a Shawshank?
Right.
It was a difficult name to market, I think, and people discovered it on home video through word of mouth and all that kind of stuff. So, it makes sense in a way.
When I first met Andy Dufresne.
A toy line. Okay, here's a phenomenon that happened a lot in the 80s.
Okay.
That movies that were a little bit more adult ended up with animated series and toy lines that are obviously marketed directly at kids. But anyway, so a toy line was released in conjunction with the film and featured action figures of most of Beetlejuice's incarnations, as well as Otho Adam, whose figure featured him wearing a red baseball cap apparently, and the shrunken head man from The Waiting Room, whose figure was named Harry the Haunted Hunter, and came with a detachable head showing what he looked like before death. So there's a toy line, and there's also the animated series that came out. I think at the beginning of the 90s. I want to say.
You want to say, but you should check it before you put it in Trivia Corner.
Well then, thank you for showing me up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know, Jonathan. I'm not clever enough to know stuff because I'm not the trivia master. Would you like me to keep on stalling and vamping until you found it on Google on your phone? I will do this for you because I like you and I like the cut of your jib. Will you please type faster, you piece of
Beetlejuice,
shit?
the animated series, premiered in 1989, a year after this movie was released. But yeah, there are other examples of that, like RoboCop, for example, which is an incredibly adult film that had
toys.
Had toys and an animated series. I think an animated series. Just a lot of these kinds of things that Freddy Krueger as well, adult horror movie, had a lot of toys, sort of squarely aimed at kids. I don't know. I don't understand the thinking behind that, but anyway. During the scene in the graveyard after the Maitlands leave when Beetlejuice gets mad and kicks the tree, originally the tree was not supposed to fall, but on that take, Keaton kicks the tree, it falls down, and he ad-libs the line, "Nice fucking model, honk honk," to the set designer who messed up.
Right.
Burton loved it so much, he left the blooper in.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Lovely. I'm really happy that that's a blooper.
Yeah. Drop page.
I always like it when those things get left in because it's very genuine moments and you get to see actors staying in character for them.
And that was Trivia
Corner. What do you want? What are you looking at me for?
Well, I'm looking at you because you're supposed to lead me to the attic.
It's been it's gone.
Has it been condemned?
It's gone.
Where's it gone?
It's just disappeared.
How does an entire attic just disappear?
It's gone into the ether. Join me in the VFX attic. Where else can you see VFX in an attic other than VFX attic? Tick.
If it's gone, where are we?
We have been transported into the attic through the ether.
Okay.
So we're in the attic.
We're in the attic.
Would you like me to talk about VFX for a bit?
Yes, please.
All right. So...
Can you pass me the soda, please, Bartholomew?
So, a couple of names that I want to bring up. Most of the work that I want to talk about is to do with sort of creature and makeup effects. But we've already talked about most of the things that we're going to say. But, I like to bring up the names of the people who worked on it. So, Robert Shaw and... I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but V. Neil or Neil. I don't know, it's a very strangely written name. But anyway, they are both. V is a makeup artist for Beetlejuice, notable for having worked on this movie, Mrs. Doubtfire and Ed Wood, and she won a Academy Award for her work on this film.
Well, she bloody well should. It's genius stuff.
As well as Robert Short, the creature and makeup effects designer, who worked on multiple designs and most notable for his work on the creature effects in the Afterlife. And he worked on other films, Splash, the mermaid effects, Predator's design, and the red heart sort of flashing light on E.T. the Extraterrestrial. So lots of visited people. So I wanted to talk about a couple of VFX in the movie that I really like. First of all, I really enjoy the snake scene because it's a very harsh sort of change in tone from the scene before it, where it's, the Deo scene and all of that. And, it brings a lot of levity and, but then you've got this thing and it's actually, I didn't realize that it was animatronic, the snake.
There are some shots.
There are some shots where it's,
like the close-up, the close-up of the snake where he goes, oh god,
right.
Yeah.
So whenever its face needs to move in a way that it can't move, right, and all that. So there are certain shots where it's not animatronic and it's stop motion. There's a lot of stop motion in the movie, including the worm, which I think is who had been out of work since Dune in 1984. Indeed, but you were saying that the jank is on purpose and trying to hark back to something, and I think
to the old B movies of the 50s, 60s.
If that's actually the case, then that works pretty well, and most of what I was going to say about it is sort of moot. But I was just going to say that it's not as good as some of the a lot of the work that's done in A Nightmare Before Christmas, and obviously the technology as it goes on. The technology. As technology improves, so do the tools for making stop motion look more convincing. So I didn't think that it was possible. I didn't think it was really that they dropped the ball or anything. But it's a visual style that I just don't really. It doesn't look nice to me. But that's my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's not the visual style that I don't like, because obviously the visual style of the movie is extremely appealing to me. It's just the execution, and this is what I was saying before to you. I don't remember if we actually recorded it or not, but it's the way that it's served up to you, right? There are many, many ways to do, certain VFX, and it's sometimes down to, and we've talked about this before, how much interaction there is with the actual set. So, for example, how much dust is being blown up by something. Like there are some great moments where sand gets knocked onto the actors and they sort of brush it off themselves. There's a lot of tangible sort of interaction with it, but it's to me the way that it's sort of served up to me is not how I like it cooked. So that's. Oh,
I'm sorry. Would you like to send it back to the kitchen?
I wouldn't dare, because what if Tim Burton finds out? So I want to say that I think that the main part for me of this is those sequences. in the VFX attic, what we're going to talk about is those blue screen effects and the stop motion effects, but at the end of the day, it's stop motion and it looks like stop motion. It's really cool, and for me, it's always going to be about the design of the creatures and the design of the things that are happening. It's really, really cool. And that's pretty much all I've got, I'm afraid. It's not really very substantial. But most of what is going on in this film is not really... They're more practical effects than they are visual effects, and there's less... It's something that I really appreciate about the movie is just how much everything is practical. There's makeup effects and there's lighting effects, and even you were saying to me that you love how the caseworker, Juno... how when she's smoking her cigarette, the smoke is coming out of the gash in her throat. Right. And it's like the attention to detail and the sort of the design. That is design. That is like thinking about, okay, this is a dead, person, and how do we make this thing that is actually quite gruesome a little bit funny? Right. So, that's really cool to me. But yeah, it's top marks for effort, though.
Yeah, no, it's all very old school. I mean, like you've got effects like the Maitlands fading away.
Yeah.
Or when they start to get old, they're
projecting it onto their faces,
projecting it or dissolving it. With sort of like laying the film on top of each other, like a sort of double exposure or whatever it is. And you've got like effects like when they look into the room with the souls.
Yeah,
it's like death for dead people, death for ghosts or whatever.
They've been exorcised.
Yeah, so there's like that's also a very old school kind of kind of an effect. So I don't think this was a trailblazer in the effects world. I mean, obviously you would have a lot more to talk about if we were going to talk about Jurassic Park or something, but yeah.
Well, we're not talking about Jurassic Park, are we?
Yes. He's not Judge Judy and Executioner.
No. Anyway, that's all I have for the VFX attic.
Well, you dragged me all the way up here just for that.
I didn't drag you anywhere. We were transported through the ether. Would you like me to transport you back out of the ether?
Yes, please.
Well, anyway, VFX attic.
Well, thank you for that. That was...
pointless, short but pointless.
A very short and sweet VFX attic. So... Closing remarks.
So I don't think that I have anything to say beyond what I've already said. I think that it's not one of those movies where, again, if you're the kind of person who can't stand looking at older effects, if it really takes you out of it, then it'll probably take you out of it. But just for the designs, man, worth watching this movie again and again and again and again and again. It's just beautiful designs, great atmosphere. The music's awesome. And also the story, I really like the story, and I also love that ending. So, top marks from me.
Yeah, me too. It's very old school. Even for the time, it was old school. I love the purity of Adam and Barbara. I think Gina Davis is really wonderful in this movie. Very genuine, and you can, and Alec Baldwin as well. Like you can really buy the idea that they're ghosts and that they would befriend Lydia,
and that they're just they're good people.
Yeah. And I love that kind of dynamic, that kind of like there are ghosts in the house, and then it's like, you're not very good at it, are you? You're not
right,
really, I love that dynamic. I think in general the script is just really sharp and funny, and and to be honest with you, like the element of the movie that makes the least amount of an impression on me each time is actually Beetlejuice himself, is actually Michael Keaton.
Right.
Because while he's great in it, and he does like make his mark and whatever, he is only in it for 15 minutes. And and the story is really about Lydia and the Maitlands.
It's something that I'd be interesting.
You would be interesting.
It's something I'd be interested to see.
You are interesting.
Like how they sort of translate that whole thing into the sequel. Like if they are going to make the sequel and all of that, are they going to make it all about Beetlejuice and therefore ruin the magic, or is it are they going to get it? Are they going to be like, oh yeah, we get what made this work?
Very likely not. I think that that it's probably going to be a Jack Sparrow kind of situation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You never know, because sometimes a director will come along and say, I have a vision for this legacy sequel, and they'll make it brilliant.
Okay.
You know, like Blade Runner 2049 is not superfluous whatsoever. Like, I mean, it's a great continuation of the story, and Denis Villeneuve is a great director. But you know, you never know.
A director.
So that was our episode on Beetlejuice. Next week, we will be going to see The Batman.
I cannot contain how excited I am. Like, it's too much for me. I love it when a new Batman movie comes out. No, do you know what? Actually, that's not true. I was super duper excited about every single one of the Nolan ones. And I was like, okay with the Ben Affleck. Like, I love Ben Affleck as Batman now, but like when it came out, I was like not super duper excited about it.
Right.
But I enjoyed it when I saw it. And then, you know, now this is happening, and I'm just like watching I'm doing you with the James Bond thing, just like watching it over and over and over the trailer again and again and again and again, because I'm just super pumped for it.
I'm very excited about this movie. The reviews have been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very excited to talk about it with you.
The episode will be quite spoilery, so please watch the movie before listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Would you like me to do that without sounding like Himmler or something?
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering if you were going to shoot somebody, if they
entirely
did not.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
The next episode will be full of spoilers, so please watch the movie before you listen to the episode.
Or you will be shot.
Lovely.
Well, that's it from us. Thank you very much for joining us. I would just like to say before we sign off, happy birthday, Babs.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Keep getting younger.
Indeed. Bye everyone. Bye. What's our seat number?